Well, the IRS is facing a backlog of more than 23 million returns this tax filing season. Now, during a hearing before the Senate Finance Committee, the agency said factors like budget cuts and retirements have led to understaffing, and that turns into poor customer service. The IRS has also taken on more responsibilities during the pandemic to distribute economic relief. These problems could result in Americans seeing a delay in their refund checks this year. CBS News reporter Sarah Ewall-Wice joins me now with more. Sarah, so are we going to get delays on our tax return checks?
You know, it really depends on how you file your tax return. The IRS is begging people to file electronically and to double and triple check their information. If they do that, they should be able to get their refunds in that 21-day window. But they really are facing unprecedented challenges this tax season. And these really have been long-term issues that the IRS is facing that has been exacerbated by the coronavirus pandemic. You talk about that backlog, 23 million items on its to-do list before it even addresses this tax filing season, which is making it a lot more work for a lot more people at the IRS. And what they're really saying is the heart of that problem is those paper returns, which is why they want people to file electronically. Because the IRS has extremely old systems. They date back to the 1960s and 70s. And so when they have these paper returns, a lot of their systems are not automated. They have to go in and put information line by line into their systems after they were shut down in 2020 because of the pandemic for a number of months. They had to go back and work their way through all of that mail that compiled up into last year. So people were waiting for returns from 2020 last year, and some of them are still waiting for refunds this year on top of last year's return. So a lot of challenges there while they're seeing staffing shortages at the same time. So it really is a challenge for them. They're really pushing to have people file electronically. That is the top priority for them, and to double and triple check those lines in their returns when people file to make sure that they're all accurate.
Yeah, because one mistake on one of those lines could get your whole return rejected. What kind of help is the IRS looking for right now to help alleviate some of these issues?
You know, we saw them, the taxpayer advocate and some other officials at a hearing today. They talked about the challenges they're facing in terms of the IT systems at the IRS that are decades old. And so they're asking for multi-year funding to help upgrade these systems. This has been an ongoing issue that they've been asking for funding for a while now, and asking to make all their systems modernized, bring them up into the 21st century, really. At the same time, they've been asking for more authorities in terms of hiring. We know that the IRS was looking to hire 5,000 people for tax filing season. They filled less than 200 of those open positions, and they're already facing reduced staffs at the IRS. So that is another challenge. They're asking to make that process easier. One thing I learned from this hearing today is to onboard some of these employees, it sometimes takes 60 to 120 days just to onboard them before they can even begin training. So that's another challenge they're facing over there. And the third thing they're really focusing on is customer service. You know, if people have questions, more people, especially during the pandemic, have had questions. They're calling the IRS at record levels, and they're only answering about 11% of phone calls. They're trying to get more of this information online, trying to make sure people can find it online. So it's a continued process that they're working towards because people are very frustrated and cannot get through.
Yeah, I can imagine it'd be frustrating when you need help with a tax return and you can't get an agent on the line. So file electronically, that's one, and double check for errors. Now I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about the economy. I want to talk about inflation. Democrats have floated this idea of suspending the gas tax to ease prices at the pump. You've spoken with a lot of experts. Do they think that would work?
You know, experts are not really sold on this idea when it comes to those who focus on tax policy and inflation. I spoke to folks from groups on the left and the right, and they really said that while this could provide some temporary relief, it's not really going to get at the heart of the issue. Specifically, I spoke to someone at the Tax Policy Center who pointed out that the federal gas tax is just a little over 18 cents a gallon. If you waive that for the average American, that'll save them about $2 a week. So when you go through this and go through the process Congress passing legislation to do something like this, it really might not make much sense in the long run, specifically because they might not see the huge difference anyway. But on top of that, you have to factor in all the other components that are going on in the world right now that could impact energy prices. And, you know, even the things that are happening overseas, the issues with Ukraine, could lead to a rise in energy prices. So even if they go through the process in Congress and go through this, they might not have the relief from that anyway. Something I will say, though, is that the White House has said they're open to this idea. Democratic leaders have also said they're open to this idea, but they haven't really come down in support of it specifically. It's one of the things that they're looking at. So I think it could be a challenge moving forward, especially in Congress, where even some Democrats and Republicans are not really in support of a gas tax holiday.
Sounds like one way or the other, we're probably going to be digging deeper at the gas pump in the coming weeks. Thank you very much for talking to us right now.